Yeah, Baruch, Hashem, and Shalom Habarim, and greetings and welcome, everyone. I've got some really important information to share with all of you and those who are willing to hear this. You see, the overall level of your prosperity and, the amount of victory and just permanently steadfast, sustainable, and increasing health and wealth and whatever good things there are in life you have, right? The thing that some would call the level of your success, right? All of that is very, very simply just based on how prudent you operate. So the key to this, and like the major key, is that, you see, you have to accurately monitor and exactly, to be more prosperous, right? Exactly monitor the cycles of life that you're in and act at certain times in specific ways to actually achieve or to, what do you call that? To get things that are available at certain times. And if we look at the month, for example, from let's say a new moon to a full moon, right? You've got a certain amount of time, right? And in that cycle, for example, everything starts afresh on a new moon, right? And then it's at a standard minimum point. All the energy that powers the universe that goes through cyclical phases is at a standard minimum point. Okay, on a new moon. And then for those, 14 days or what? Right. It goes from standard minimum to standard maximum. So in that time frame, there's actually a certain amount of increase that automatically happens in everything in creation, actually. And if you harness that from the beginning, right, and you're organized in a good way, you have a map of the lunar units for those 14 days from the new moon to the full moon, from the full moon to the new moon, etc. You're always looking at it and you can see clearly what is possible in terms of increase. And this increase is what gives the increase to everything, including your health, wealth, whatever it is. So you have to regard that, first of all. That's one of the 9 cycles of life that we have to pay attention to all the time. Because, see, what's actually going on is that divine providence is always giving good things. And it's permanently available. There's always good things that are permanently available because divine providence is readily, actively giving good things all the time. And it's basically packaged. So divine providence is like packaging things in 7 different categories or general category groups. And these happen during the 7 daily periods of the cycles of life, whereof there are 7 a day, right? 7 days makes us strong, okay? Then these things are like sort of polarized or given a certain amount or a quality level based on the short lunar unit of 3 hours, right? That constantly alternates between negative and positive. And then also by the 3.5 day long lunar unit that alternates between negative and positive every 3.5 days, basically. Now, those are just 3 of the 9 cycles of life. But those are some that one should really look at because, look, if I pinpoint the accomplishment of my legitimate objective, exactly when divine providence is readily giving and sort of programmed and systematically giving the increase or the so-called positive life-giving energy and the positive results producing effect for that particular thing to happen at the time when it's the right time for it, if I seek to make that happen, it will happen. And that equates what's called prosperity. So this is something that has to be paid attention to because how do you actually achieve this? It's very simple. You have to maintain an accurate self-mastery calendar, preferably a very big and still practically transportable calendar for the entire solar year, where you have all the relevant life cycles mapped out on pages written with pencil, so that every day you can open a page and you know exactly what life cycles you're in on that day and what is possible in these life cycles. And so then if we come up with a legitimate objective, we can pinpoint the accomplishment of that objective at a certain time in a certain window of opportunity on a particular day, within a certain 3-hour window, right? Within a 3-hour, 25-minute window of some daily period of the cycles of life, right? Within the right short and long lunar unit, right? Within the right within the right daily period, within the right short and lunar long units, and then during the right annual life cycle period, and then in the right simple overall period of human life, and in accordance with your soul personality. And guess what happens? It works. And it works permanently and miraculously, so to say, and there's nothing that can impede your progress. Nothing and nobody. So good organizational skills are key.